Hey guys, it's Chimera, and you are still watching the Tyrant's Legendary Walkthrough for Halo Anniversary. Today, we're going to piss off my little buddy Spark by delaying Halo from being fired in the 2 Betrayals.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Tyrant's Legendary Guide for Halo Anniversary. Today we are doing 2 Betrayals.
Unfortunately, my usefulness to this particular endeavor has come to an end. Protocol does not allow units with my classification to perform a task as important as the reunification of the index with the core. That final step is reserved for you, Reclaimer.
Oh, it's all me. That's right, stick it in there. Virus! Virus!
Oh, really?
Email virus.
Cortana.
I've spent the last 12 hours cooped up in here watching you toady about, helping that thing get set to slit our throats.
Hold on now. He's a friend.
Oh, I didn't realize. He's your pal, is he? Your chum? Do you have any idea what that bastard almost made you do?
Oh man, those are fighting words.
Activate Halo's defenses and destroy the flood, which is why we brought the index to the control center.
You mean this?
A construct in the core? That is absolutely unacceptable.
Sod!
Oh, it's on now.
I shall purge you at once.
You sure that's a good idea?
How dare you? Oh!
Do what? I have the index. You can just float and sputter.
Enough! The flood is spreading. If we activate Halo's defenses, we can wipe them out.
You have no idea how this ring works, do you? Why the Forerunners built it? Halo doesn't kill Flood. It kills their food. Humans, Covenant, whatever. We're all equally edible. The only way to stop the Flood is to starve them to death. And that's exactly what Halo is designed to do. Wipe the galaxy clean of all sentient life. You don't believe me? Ask him.
She told you.
Is it true?
No?
More or less. Technically, this installation's pulse has a maximum effective radius of 25,000 light years. But once the others follow suit, this galaxy will be quite devoid of life. Or at least any life with sufficient biomass to sustain the flood. But you already knew that. I mean, how couldn't you?
Left out that little detail, did he?
We have followed outbreak containment procedure to the letter. You were with me each step of the way as we managed this crisis.
Chief, I'm picking up movement.
Why would you hesitate to do what you've already done?
We need to go right now.
Last time you asked me, if it were my choice, would I do it? Having had considerable time to ponder your query, my answer has not changed. There is no choice. We must activate the ring.
Get us out of here.
If you are unwilling to help, I will simply find another. Still, I must have the index. Give your construct to me, or I will be forced to take her from you.
That's not going to happen.
Oh, really?
Save his head. Dispose of the rest.
Oh, damn. Run, bitch, run! Okay, so this part's pretty self-explanatory. You've got a plasma pistol and a shotgun. You want to use the overcharged shot to kill the 4 sentinels and the glass shielding for cover.
We can't let the monitor activate Halo. We have to stop him. We have to
We're going to open up the door
Halo.
here. This part isn't too bad at all if you have Boom and Grunt Funeral activated. You're going to have sentinels that are going to come down from the ceiling and engage the Covenant. And check that out. I like to... You could just let them fight it out themselves, but what fun is that, right? And once that first wave is dead, you'll have 2 jackals and an elite that'll emerge from the back. Now, again, I found that fragmentation grenades tend to work best against jackals. and grunts, whereas plasma grenades work better against elites. Now I'm using plasma here simply because he tends to charge you. So if you feel like you've acquired any negative karma from skipping all of Assault on the control room, here's pretty much where you're going to make up for it. This mission will hand hand your ass to you. And it's not pretty. So we're going to open up this door here. There's going to be lots of grunts, jackals, 2 elites hiding over there in the corner. We're just going to lay waste to them really, really quickly. And once you're sure the coast is clear, you're going to ascend the ramp for additional ammo and health if you need it, which we do right now. The skulls that I have active here are iron, obviously. Oh, bastard. I'm just mad now. We have iron. We have Grunt Funeral, Boom.
That amplify Halo's signal and allow it to fire deep into space.
And we have Bandanna.
Enormous. I can't even begin to calculate the pulse's range. So, if we damage or destroy,
you do not necessarily need Bandanna, but there are a couple of places in this mission where it definitely comes in handy. I will be doing alternate methods here, but here I basically just wanted to steamroll everything. Wow, where did you come from? Yeah, again. Why can't you assholes just stay put? So we already took out the elites. There's still a couple of grunts and jackals wandering around. I think it's 1 jackal. See, plasma grenades aren't quite as effective. Boom is kind of a mixed blessing in this mission. On the one hand, it really does come in handy for taking out mobs of enemies, makes some battles a lot quicker. On the other hand, you also have a lot of tight spaces, and meet your new enemy, the Rocket Flood. We did catch a glimpse of them in the library, but here they really do flush them out. They just basically took the jar and dumped it all out on you. So we're basically trying to kill the 2 elites that are over here. One is already down for the count. The other tends to hide on that ramp. I will be releasing a second video of this showing some quicker methods to get through some of these areas. But this is just a slow and steady method. So when you come down here, you'll have a lot of grunts and jackals. You'll have an elite zealot, a couple of elite officers or majors. And this is where your sniper rifle really comes in handy. Now, on the far side, there you have a wraith. This guy is a pain in the butt, but as long as you stay in this general area, it can't hurt you. Now that zealot's getting a little bit frisky. Oh, getting hit from the back. Tyrant does not like it from the back. Again. Okay, so we're going to kind of hide out here for a second, wait for my shields to recharge, and then I'm going to go in for the kill. You do not mess with the Tyrant. At this point, I'm just mad. It's taken me a while to actually get through this mission without dying. It's definitely a tough one, but it is probably one of my favorite missions at the same time. There's a lot of variety here. Basically, you now have 3 factions against you: the Covenant, the Flood, and the Sentinels. Great. Everyone hates your guts now. So once you feel that the area is clear, go ahead and grab that health pack if you need it. Oh, there's still one more. Oh, the bastard likes to hide. They're a little bit clever. He sees that grenade. He is not a happy man. He's still hiding over here behind this rock. We're going to try to corner him. There we go. Alright, at this point, I'm going to say make sure that the Wraith isn't firing on your location. Quickly grab the rocket launcher. This is the quickest way to take out the Wraith. It takes 2 to 3 shots. And it was only 2 this time. Fantastic. So go ahead and pick up the sniper rifle again. The sniper rifle does not work against the Flood. It is the only complete useless weapon on them, but we will need it later. And since you do have Bandanna on and the pistol, that also serves as a fantastic anti-Flood weapon. And we're going to try to keep the Flood at a distance anyway, and the grenades are going to help us out with that. So at this point, we need to find the first pulse generator, and that's going to be straight up. See that little platform right there? That's where we need to go. Now, an elite and 2 grunts are going to emerge. So get yourself a height advantage here. And go ahead and just fuel rod the crap out of them. If you're lucky, you might even be able to knock the elite off. It's kind of funny. Okay, so that's clear. There's not a whole lot of opposition in this first generator. In fact, when you go in there, initially it's going to be completely empty. However, once you leave, a bunch of sentinels are going to try to confront you. So all you need to do is walk in. The downside of doing this, obviously, is that your shields will go down entirely, so you want to try to be a little bit careful when you leave. You can toss a grenade and usually wipe out most of them pretty quickly. Yep, there we go. Check that out. You could just choose to run by them if you want. You won't take a whole lot of damage. But I really like to try to keep my health up as much as possible. So now we're going to ride down here. Enemies are going to come from both doors. Grunts with fuel rod guns and elites. So we want to wipe out these guys as quickly as possible, land your Banshee, and go through before the enemies on the other side of the bridge have time to advance. Again, we have boom activated, so those fuel rod guns are pretty devastating. Now we're going to open this door. 1 Grunt's going to be just kind of chilling. And you're going to have a lot of enemies in the center of the room. A couple of Jackals, a lot of Grunts, and at least 2 elites. You also have enemies on the other side. Now, if you check out this window right here, you can throw a sticky grenade and usually wipe out a fair amount of them. So we're going to clean house just a little bit here. Alright, we got, looks like everybody here. So what I like to do is, since there's a lot of enemies clustered up on the exit, is toss 1 frag grenade. And if you've got Grunt Funeral activated, then you're going to do a lot of damage and you won't have many enemies to clean up once you reach the other side. And that guy is still kind of chilling, so we're just going to throw a sticky at him. He's like, no! Oh, yeah, burned. You may still have a few lingering enemies over here. Sometimes the Grunt likes to retreat back down that little walkway. You can't hide forever, little man. And down here you've got 3 Jackals to deal with. So again, arm yourself with fragmentation grenades. Throw 1 in the back so he doesn't retreat. And move on. You'll have a few more coming over here. Switch to plasma grenades and go ahead and bombard the end of the hall. That's where your 2 elites are going to emerge. You've got a couple of Grunts here and 1 or 2 Jackals. And that was pretty easy. So now we're about to encounter our first battle between the Covenant and the Flood. There are a couple of different ways you can handle this. The Flood are going to come out from the right-hand side to engage the Covenant on the left, which are mainly elites. Now you could choose to let them fight it out, but occasionally a Flood gets a little bit curious and wanders down here. So I'm just going to wipe them out real quick, throw a plasma grenade over here, and wipe out these guys in 1 blow. You have some health and additional ammo over on the right-hand side if you need it. That is an elite zealot. After you kill those elites, that zealot's going to charge forward. And he's angry. Now he's going to get some backup. Those Jackals. There's a lot of Jackals that are going to come in after him. Now I don't see the zealot anymore, so we're going to switch to fragmentation grenades to go ahead and wipe out those Jackals. I'm just going to charge right in here. There we go. Stay down. Again, you have a lot of enemies on the other side, so we're just going to go ahead and cheat and throw a little fragmentation grenade over there. They're all clustered together. It's a couple of elites and a bunch of grunts and jackals. Again, the typical formula. And you're going to have some flood combat forms waiting for you on the other side, along with a couple of carriers. Again, it's always best to use the pistol to take out the carriers from a distance. And it's also good to throw grenades into piles of grenades from a distance so you can go ahead and trigger that chain reaction on your own time, rather than having it happen by accident with you right in the middle of it. Okay, so this is the first of the two bridges. This is the easier of the two. It's mainly just Covenant. You've got a few jackals right here. A frag or two should take care of them without any issue. I like to take cover because we do have boom on, and it is amazingly powerful. As you approach closer to the other side, the flood are going to start jumping from one side of the bridge to the other. Now, there are a lot of Covenant here, and this includes an elite zealot with a sword. He can be pretty menacing. That's one of the reasons why we brought the sniper rifle, so we can take them out from a distance if we need to. It helps thin out the competition just a little bit. Is he teabagging? We just took him out anyway. It didn't really help. See, you don't teabag in the middle of a match. The flood are already starting to get antsy. They're already coming over to this side. They really aren't a match for that zealot sword. I will tell you, one of the most fun ways to dispatch this zealot is to throw a grenade and have him dodge and roll right off the side of the bridge. It happens quite a bit. Now he's just kind of hiding over here. He's really good at dodging. You know, once his shields are down, he has no problem getting back into cover. So we're going to throw some grenades over there. I know he's got to be weak because I put a couple of rounds into him. That chain reaction probably did him in. So now we're going to just slowly advance forward. Again, you really don't want to get too close to him. Now, as you can see, the flood are jumping over from the other side. At this point, you can sort of just run it because their weapons are fairly weak. Enjoy it while you can, because this does not last. Okay, so this room is the first one you'll encounter that's full of flood, and they'll be coming at you from 3 directions. Now, if you wait right here for just a second, they'll all gather in the middle. Sometimes they'll hesitate a little bit, but they'll also come out on the other sides as well. There are also some flood hiding in that center top room. Oh, went out the other side. Now this is a good time to keep an eye on your radar because you can easily... stupid door. Because you can easily tell when they're starting to close in on your location. So they haven't started... Well, there's one. Okay, so I can see on my radar they're starting to close in. Mainly human forms are going to come from the left-hand side and elites from the right. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but definitely something to look at. So we're going to toss a grenade up here and get rid of the rest of these guys. The pistol I found works slightly better than the shotgun when it comes to dealing with infection flood. It's a little bit more predictable. Okay, so I would like to move around the right-hand side. There's usually a group of flood right here. One grenade should do the trick. You will surprisingly not alert the others, which are clustered around the opposite door over here. So another grenade. And you've got 2 elites that are hiding out over here. So I'll toss a plasma grenade over here. You could let them just engage the flood further down the hall, but then things get a little bit clustered, and this is the first bottleneck. So you've got 3 flood hiding out over here, and a 4th one in the back who hasn't emerged yet with a rocket launcher. Now, if you're really lucky, that fragmentation grenade will take out him too, because he's hiding literally just right behind the corner. So I'm trying to see if I can antagonize him. I don't see him right now, which probably means we got him. That's a good thing, because he kills a lot of people. This is a closed-in space, and he has a very powerful weapon. So Flood are going to gather here around this particular exit. Sometimes the carriers will advance. Sometimes they won't. If they don't, go ahead and toss a grenade in each direction to take out the carriers on both sides. This prevents you from getting surprised by them, because I can tell you with boom activated, it can be devastating if one of these guys blows up right next to you. It does not mean death, but you will definitely lose your shields and probably a couple of bars of health. There's some Flood hanging out in these vents. I like to take them out too. This is just a really cautious way of playing this. You don't have to do it this way. You could just try to rush the other side. You may not have to worry too much. But like I said, I just like to take it easy. This guy has a shotgun right here. So at the very least, you want to get the shotgun out of his hands. Now basically, after that explosion that went off, a second wave of Flood will start dropping down from the ceiling. So that's why you see me going and throwing more things, because they'll start spawning in different locations. The Flood definitely earned the title in this game. So we have a few over here by the door. You have a health pack there if you need it. This is going to be the... Oh, forgot there are a ton of infection forms that are about to come over there. One grenade should do it. It got rid of that chain reaction too. Now this second bridge is a lot harder than the first. You've got two Banshees overhead trying to fight the Flood. And there are a bunch of Flood here armed with rocket launchers. These are like the Jackal snipers of Halo 2. They are the worst possible enemies ever. There are a couple of carriers over here as well. Sometimes they will be a little bit further along when you leave the doors, and they'll be right there at the entrance. So just be aware that they can, see one blew up right there, they can sort of beat you to the punch a little bit. So it's all about just being careful. Now this is one of the reasons why I have Bandanna activated, because it takes, you're going to need the pistol to take out these Banshees. And after you're done, you're not going to have a whole lot of pistol ammo left. And it becomes very scarce. Not a lot of Flood seem to have pistols, and that guy just blew himself up right there on the bridge. You know, there's a lot of Flood with shotguns and assault rifles. A lot of Flood with rocket launchers, which is pretty useless to you this early on in the mission, particularly with boom activated and so many close quarters. It just doesn't help you very much. Alright, so second Banshee is down. So now we want to work on sniping the Flood on this side of the bridge. I just took out a couple of those guys for the hell of it. The guys at the end have rocket launchers. Now sometimes they'll get a little bit antsy and they'll advance ahead of time. I'm going to see if I can get a little bang shot up. Uh-oh. Nope, nope, nope. That was close. Almost got splattered by a Banshee. You were extremely vulnerable here. Now usually it's the human forms that have rocket launchers. The only elite forms that I've seen are the first one way back there and towards the end. But yeah, these guys have rocket launchers. They are surprisingly accurate with them, and because it is such close quarters here, it's very easy to get killed by them. So you want to try to take them out from a distance as best you can. So you're going to be going through pistol ammo like crazy here. Those two guys always jump up once you advance. We're going to try to help ourselves out here by having not too much fire coming from the other side. It's pretty much all Flood over there right now. So we have another potential rocket Flood over here, so I'm going to go ahead and take him down. Now this is another use for Bandanna. I like to throw a grenade to the next little segment of the bridge, because sometimes the Flood like to hide. And I've had this happen a couple of times too, where I've just walked over here and there's been a Flood hiding with his back to the structure. So at this point, you're all good. You can just run past these infection forms right here. They don't really do much to you. You see some rocket launchers laying on the ground, so we definitely took care of those guys. We're about to enter another flood room. Those guys just sort of blow themselves up. This one's a lot easier than some of the other ones that you've encountered so far. Because the flood can only really come at you from two directions. One is from the center of the room. The other is from the other side. Because this room does not go all the way around. There's that barrier that's blocking you from the exit. I like to try to eliminate as many of these infection forms as possible. They're not really that harmful when you've got shields, but when you don't, they literally eat you alive. So it's not a good thing. Plus, they also sort of play hell with your radar, and you want to be able to differentiate infection forms from actual threats. There's a lot of these guys in this room. I don't know where they're coming from. I want to say the center. Because if you look at your radar, there's always infection forms somewhere in this room, no matter how many you kill. And where are they? I don't know. I'm not going to provoke them. So we're just going to go forward. Take your time here. I think we've wiped out most of the competition. There's usually a few flood combat forms by the exit. So one grenade should do the trick. I see there's some flood infection forms hiding in that tube over there. You've got no opposition here. You've just got an elevator that goes all the way down to the ground floor. You will have infection forms that pop up here. You do not need to engage them, kind of like I'm just ignoring them right now. They're not that big of a threat to you. Much like the flood in this room. It's very easy just to go ahead and run by these guys without any real problem. You do not need to engage them. You only have one or two that may jump in your way. But for the most part, you really don't have anything to worry about. Occasionally, one will run up behind you and give you a good smack, but for the most part, you can get through this without too many problems. So through this door, and now we're back to the Covenant again. This is the one battle that really isn't worth fighting out. You've got Covenant ground forces, you've got a Ghost, you've got a Banshee, and you've also got a Wraith at the far end. There's really no easy way to kill the Wraith because of the Banshee, and vice versa.
Let's take care of the next
They gave each other great cover fire, so go ahead and grab this Ghost. There's a health pack in that little canyon right there if you need it. But we're going to go ahead and drive on through. Easiest way I've found is to go to the far right and straight through the tunnel. The biggest bottleneck I tend to find here is when the Banshee fires its fuel rod gun at you. It'll take out a good portion of your health and usually send your Ghost flying. So now we're going to maneuver our way up here. There's a health pack there if you need it, but we have full health right now. There's a couple of grunts up here, which we're going to deal with in a second. But I like to just drive by them first, put some distance there because of their grunt funeral. And these guys fall pretty easily. Nothing to it. Now this is why we brought the sniper rifle. This second pulse generator is one of the hardest parts in the mission. If not the hardest part in the mission. No sex joke there. This is not funny. There's elites on one side of this tower. There are hunters on the other. There's a few banshees flying around, which are going to cause you the most trouble here. And there's a wraith parked on the other side. On the rooftops, you've got a bunch of grunts and elites. The grunts are armed with fuel rod guns. So these guys, I mean, this is like one of the worst possible scenarios. And it gets harder from here. So we're going to use the sniper rifle to take out the elites. You could just use the Ghost to rush the Banshees, But when you take off, you're going to have elites shooting at you, you're going to have banshees shooting at you, and your banshees are like paper on Legendary. They fall really quickly. I like to take out as many banshees from here as I can just to help ease out the opposition a little bit when we finally do get into the air. Yeah, alright, so we should be fairly good at this point. I'm looking for the other Banshee right now. Like I said, I like to take out as many of the Banshees as I can. I know one way to provoke them a little bit is if you go ahead and capture one of these Banshees and take it back to your little hiding spot. You could fly straight up. It is entirely possible to get this Banshee to the second pulse generator, park it, and get inside without getting killed, but it's a real coin toss. So this is the safer, more methodical way to do it. So we have that one Banshee who's just kind of lingering around over there. I don't know if he's going to come back out or not. I want to provoke him. I want him to charge me, but it doesn't look like he's going to do it. You want to be careful because you've got two hunters on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and take them out now. And at this point, the Wraith is on the other side, so it can't really bug you from here. So really, it's just the Banshee that's going to be a problem. So it looks like we're going to be dogfighting this one out. Sometimes the Banshees will, you know, do you a favor and charge your location. Other times, they'll just kind of hang back and wait for you to get into the air. I'm trying to see if I can draw them out right now. It'd be a lot better than having to go to the rooftop because you've got two options here. You can try to draw them out one at a time, or you can try to dogfight them in the air. But if you want to go into the air, you're going to want to go as high as you possibly can so that you are out of range of the Grunt fuel rod guns. There's that Wraith. He's not firing anymore. Oh, we have a stationary gun. Let's take him out. Alright, there's that Banshee. And he's following us. See, this is kind of one of the big flaws I found with this game. Is the Banshees just get really antsy and they just want to hump you. So he's not even really attacking me. He's just trying to run into me at this point. They're really hard to kill, particularly if you have boom on. It gets a little bit freaky because I'm kind of afraid that the explosion's going to kill me. So we got that one. There should be one or two more Banshees lingering around at this point. We have a spare Banshee over there if we need it. And you're going to get a second Banshee anyway when you come out of the pulse generator. So it's okay to take a little bit of damage. It's just when you start getting really low on health and you've got multiple Banshees dogging you, it becomes a real problem. So here's our other Banshee. And there's that invisible geometry from Halo 1. And he's trying to kiss me again for reasons I can't explain. This isn't even really a dogfight, it's just a makeout session. No, stop trying to get behind me. Jeez. You perverted little purple plane. This is another reason why I like to take them out of the ground, although I have encountered instances before where I was on the ground and they just start circling around me. And again, with boom on, you know you're going to die at that point, because even when you kill them, the explosion from the blast will kill you too. Alright, so we finally got that Banshee out of the equation. I don't see any others. So at this point, go ahead and fly straight up. Beautiful moon. As high as you can. Alright, yeah, there is still one Banshee lingering around down there, but he's not bothering us right now, so I'm not too worried. So now you can just sort of bombard things from the top. And that's what I recommend. Go ahead, take out the stationary guns, look for the grunts with the fuel rod guns. Because these guys are going to be your biggest threat. These are the guys that at this point will be able to one-shot you. You have about half health at this point. And on this pad over here that leads to the second pulse generator, you have one elite, one grunt with the fuel rod gun, and one jackal. So it's important to clear these guys out. You definitely don't want to fight a grunt with a fuel rod gun face to face. Not only does their gun explode, but so do they. So we're going to park it right here. Now, this is a tough one. Because the second pulse generator... Here, we'll go ahead and take out this guy. While we're at it. The second pulse generator is full of flood. And a bunch of them have rocket launchers. And once you activate the pulse generator, or I should say deactivate it, flood are going to emerge again with rocket launchers. So this is just a nightmare waiting to happen. This is a good place to have grenades. Take out as many of them as you can. Most of them are clustered up. They're busy fighting the sentinels. Back up towards the door if you feel like you need to. You just want as much cover as you can. So once the little red dots have disappeared on your screen, it's safe to deactivate the pulse generator. Now they're all going to come through the doors, so start throwing those grenades. And that one bounced. So we're going to back up, try to bottleneck them in. There's still a few more wandering around. I don't think any of them have rocket launchers at this point, so we're just going to run as fast as we can. Get back outside. We still got a few zombies coming after us here, so we'll just gun them down with a pistol. And since most of your opposition is gone here, you basically just need to worry about the Banshee and the Wraith.
I've located the Pillar of Autumn. She put down 1,200 kilometers upspin. Energy readings show her fusion reactors are...
I'm going to try to draw the Banshee's attention. Sometimes we'll charge your location, sometimes you won't.
I can't override without authorization from the captain. We'll need to find him, or his neural implants, to start the fusion core detonation.
It looks like we're going to have to dogfight this one too. This is pretty much the only place in campaign where you have the option to dogfight, so you might as well take advantage of it. Oh, there he is. We might actually have a real dogfight here. There we go. Okay, so Banshee's down. Now we're going to target the Wraith. Now, an alternative method for this area is just taking the Banshee and flying straight down through the tunnel and trying to skip all the enemies. Now, I can tell you that when you have boom activated, this really does become a coin toss. It is not advised. A lot of the flood at the end of the tunnel have rocket launchers. It's very easy for you to get hit. And at this point, I'm really not willing to flip the coin anymore. I will show you an alternative method in a second video. So what I recommend here as a safer method, by the way, do not park the Banshee on the hill. I have died here before because I parked the Banshee, walked in front of it, and in the process of it sliding down, the wing clipped me and killed me. Spartan Super Soldier dies because a Banshee tapped it. Okay, so all those guys down there, a lot of them have rocket launchers. There's two waiting behind the corner that also have rocket launchers. My advice is just snipe them from afar. This is the safe, methodical approach to this. Again, you do have the option of just trying to fly the Banshee through. Sometimes you'll make it, sometimes you won't. This is more of the guaranteed approach. Again, the sniper rifle will not work against them here. But the pistol's a pretty damn good sniping weapon anyway. The Flood do like to come back to life quite a bit, but as long as you've taken off their weapon arm, then you'll only be dealing with a melee enemy. And hell, you can shoot off both their arms, and all they can do is just stand there and look pretty. Kind of like me. So now we're going to move down. You do not need the Banshee anymore. If you want to, you can use the Banshee to take this ghost down here and boost that through the blast door, but it really doesn't help you a whole lot on Legendary. Alright, so there's 2 Flood around this corner with rocket launchers. I'm trying to see if I can get Boom to give me an advantage here. There we go. And those guys are really tough to get around. Like I said, not impossible. Obviously, I did it in my full theatrical presentation of Halo Anniversary, but again, when you have Boom on, it becomes a real coin toss. So I don't like to test it. Again, you could go all the way back up and use your Banshee to push the Ghost through if you desire. I have found very little benefit to it. Just because so many of the Flood towards the end of the mission have rocket launchers, it doesn't make it worthwhile. You have a couple of carrier forms that are going to try to emerge from this broken blast door. I don't even want to know how the Flood got into the mechanics of the ring. I can tell from my radar that it's pretty much just infection form, so we can go ahead and safely go through. Sort of clean house a little bit. Now when you get to the bridge, it's going to look empty and safe, even though there's a few Flood combat forms on the other side, but you're going to have 3 waves of Flood that are going to attack you here. That's your first wave, in combination with the Flood infection forms that are about to literally flood the bridge. And they'll be joined by a second wave of combat forms on the far side. These guys are going to start having rocket launchers. So again, it's good to use the pistol to snipe them from a distance. I've noticed that without Bandanna, once you get to this part in the mission, ammo becomes a little bit harder to come by for weapons that you would typically use. So again, just take your time here. Walk forward a little bit more and you'll trigger the final wave. Now I'm just clearing out over here, making sure that there are no stray grenades around that can chain react and send me on my merry little way to Spartan heaven. So we should have a final wave. There it is. Again, there's at least 1 rocket Flood within this group, so you want to try to be careful. Yep, that's him right there. There's 1 more guy over here. Whoop, 2 more. Yeah. You know that expression, get up so I can kill you again? Never ever say that to the Flood. Okay, so we got rid of those stray grenades. We should be clear at this point. There's a health pack there if you need it. We do. And so now we're going to continue onward. We've still got 3 major skirmishes left between the Flood and the Covenant. This is the first one. This does tend to be a little bit challenging. You've got Flood attacking the Covenant base camp, or whatever you want to call it, from 3 different directions. Plus you've got a Banshee flying overhead, and a lot of these Flood have, once again, rocket launchers. They really flushed them out in this mission. This has been my #1 cause of death in 2 Betrayals, is rocket flood. So the first wave of flood is going to come out from this right-hand side over here. So we're going to go to the left. That way they do not see you, and they will immediately engage the Covenant on the far side. Now that Banshee's going to give us some trouble. It seems like no matter how under fire the Covenant is, no matter how bad they're losing, that Banshee will go out of its way to kill you. And he does a lot of damage too. The pistol is great for taking down Banshees. Probably the best weapon. They tend to dodge rockets. And some Flood are starting to get a little bit antsy over here, so we're going to deal with that. We've got the Banshee at the same time, but we got them all. But like I said, fighting it out over here on the left-hand side tends to be the best way. There's a rocket launcher over there, which means there are rocket Flood out and about. The Flood will pretty much always win this particular little skirmish. One of the other waves of Flood comes from that tunnel over there, and the third wave from your exit point. Oh god. That's a lot of zombies. Toss grenades, see if we can take a bunch of these guys out. Yeah, we basically blew up like 70% of that wave. Okay, that grenade waited like 10 minutes to detonate. Grenades in Halo 1 are so flaky. I'm gonna make sure these guys are dead. Usually a grenade means they will not get back up. If you shoot them down with bullets, sometimes they will. There's still a human Flood walking around over there, maybe 2. It's likely that they have rocket launchers, or at least one of them does, so we're gonna take it nice and slow. Now, the last pulse generator is up there, but we can't get there yet because we don't have a Banshee, unfortunately. It would be so nice if we did. You can get a ghost through that blast door, but I haven't been able to get a Banshee through there yet. So that's our third wave. Pretty scrawny. The good thing about having this area clear is you don't have to worry about Flood coming after you later. This is the second of the 3 skirmishes. This is probably the easiest to fight of the 2. Again, you have Flood here with rocket launchers, but they're going to be on the far side, so they're not that big of a threat right now. So they're already in combat. This is one of the things I love about this game, is it's the only Halo game where you see all this intense AI versus AI combat. You see it briefly in Halo 2 between Flood and Sentinels. Covenant versus Covenant, which isn't nearly as exciting. You barely see it in Halo 3, not at all in ODST or Reach. So this is just something to enjoy. So it's kind of good to take your time through this mission. This and Keys, you'll see a lot of AI versus AI combat. Now, all these guys down here, and I mean all of them, have rocket launchers. So again, it's good to try to take them out from as far away as you possibly can. This guy's getting a little bit antsy. Alright, I think we just have him left, and he killed himself. Fantastic. And now we can move on to the final one. This is a bitch and a half to fight. You have basically all of the Covenant spectrum here against you. You've got Wraiths, you've got just about every type of elite except for Special Ops. You do have the invisible ones, the camo elites. I do not consider them Special Ops. I'm sorry, they are Special Ops elites. It's the black ones I'm thinking about, the Strike Team elites. Now, that's where we want to go, those Banshees over there. But you've got a massive army of Covenant that's trying to block you from doing that, and you'll have Flood that's going to intercept them. And again, these guys have rocket launchers. This is going to be a hell of a fight. So at this point, I recommend getting a rocket launcher. This is the only point in the mission where I recommend this because of the messed up geometry between Halo Anniversary and Halo 1. It's really easy to shoot yourself. So we're going to go ahead and take out this Wraith before it has a chance to be active. Again, it takes 2 to 3 hits. I usually throw in the 4th rocket for good measure. So the first Wraith is down. There is a second one hiding over here that we can't get to quite yet. But we will shortly. Now, if you move up enough, the music will kick in. And the Flood will start pouring out. The Covenant will win this fight. Their opposition here is just too strong, even for Rocket Flood. It is entirely possible to sneak along the right or left-hand side, preferably the right, and get to the Banshees and take off without too much trouble. However, again, we have Boom activated, and with all the explosions going around, it really becomes a coin toss on Legendary. I do not recommend it at this point. So we're again just going to clean house. So for all of you who hate it when I skip missions, well, here you go. Here's what it's like when I don't. Oh shoot. Okay, these are the camo elites, and we're surrounded. Crap. Fortunately, these guys do not have shields, so you can throw a grenade usually pretty easily, and God, another one, and take them out. We're getting... Oh, thank God. Okay. We've got 3 bars of health left. Obviously, we need more than that. Fortunately, we have 2 health packs from the previous battle. So it's not the end of the world. So yes, those camo elites sometimes get a little bit frisky. And they'll charge your location. They're the only Covenant that do. So with the Flood out of the picture, and both Wraiths gone, we can now take our time and start sniping the rest of the Covenant. You're going to be facing 2 elite zealots here, several officers or majors. There are 2 hunters at the end as well, and you've got a bunch of grunts and jackals. Some of those grunts are going to be in stationary turrets. Fortunately, the only enemy you will not be facing here is active Banshees, even though there are clearly 2 sitting right there that they could access at any time, but choose not to. Now, sometimes a second wave of camo elites will attack you, so just kind of keep an eye out. They do not show up on your radar. You'll know it when they're on you. But fortunately, they're very weak. Alright, first hunter's down. That elite's down. I can see another zealot over there in the back. Alright, first zealot is down. See if we can get this guy over here. Alright, so the hunter's down. Keep in mind, since the Flood are gone at this point, the Covenant are going to be focused on you. At this point, I'm not even bothering to take any chances. I just want to kill everything. Let it burn. Let it burn. Okay, we almost got him. Alright, here comes Zealot number 2 with a friend. Well, I know he's hiding around there somewhere. There he is. Oh, here we go. Second wave of camo elites. Again, at this point, this is the one time where fragmentation grenades actually work better against elites than plasma grenades because, again, they do not have shields. So it looks like we just had the 2 jackals left. No opposition between us and the Banshees. So now we can finally make our way to the 3rd and final pulse generator. Now this pulse generator will be guarded by sentinels, heavily guarded by sentinels. There'll be a few already on the outside, there are a few on the inside, and there are also going to be a few in the core. Fortunately, these guys are the least of your problems. Considering everything you've already been through, this should be actually pretty easy. So you can take them out from a distance. I'd say primarily use your primary weapon, your plasma cannons, rather than the fuel rod gun, because it's very tough to hit these guys in the air. They're so small, but they're extremely susceptible to plasma. So now you just want to take your time. There's no rush here. Because all of the enemies are dead from the skirmish below, you don't have to worry about them firing up at you. So we're going to park the Banshee here. There's lots of weapons. There's health. Probably a little bit of overkill at this point, considering that all that's left are Sentinels. So we're going to trigger the second wave. Go ahead and get back in the Banshee. Again, because we have boom activated, when they fall, if they fall next to you, it's going to hurt. So again, park the Banshee. I highly recommend grabbing the plasma rifle. Deal with the sentinels on the inside. Do not get the rocket launcher. That is just a disaster waiting to happen. And you can probably get rid of most of them with just a plasma grenade here. Whoops. Plasma grenade. There we go. Like with the elites, plasma grenades tend to be a little bit more effective against sentinels. And just walk right in. And that will cue the cutscene, and that is 2 betrayals on Legendary with no deaths. Stay tuned next time where we do Keys, the most AI versus AI intense mission in the game. Very difficult, but very exhilarating. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. Spread the word. I hope this guide helped you today. As always, I'm the Tyrant, and thanks for watching.